That was Trish Regan of CBS Market Watch reporting. So how did retailers do in this area during the Christmas shopping season and 2004 in general? And what can we expect in retail for the next year? Dr. Audrey Gusky joins us this morning on the Sunday Business page. She's a professor of marketing in the School of Business Administration at Duquesne University. Audrey, welcome back.
Hi, John. Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Let me ask you, was this last year a good one for retailers in this region?
Unfortunately, it was not, as we all know. 2004 was a very, very tough year, and everybody was hoping the holiday season would pull us through, and unfortunately it did not. And a lot of experts, as you heard on the segment, were predicting 4 and 5% sales, and I think even a 2.5% increase would be very optimistic for this area. I'm thinking flat sales or maybe about 1% increase, which is really a very poor season.
You know, a lot of folks thought, because there were a lot of sales, that a lot of people were buying. What went wrong?
Well, you know, if you look at the whole economic picture, consumer confidence was down. Shoppers said they weren't going to spend a lot of money. They were going to spend about what they spent last year. Job outlook is shaky. The economy has been like a roller coaster. So you add all those factors together, and chances are consumers weren't going to spend, and they did not. And retailers were really hoping these past couple of days of the year 2004 would have been strong, and that was also weak.
Was this region worse than some other parts of the country when it came to Christmas sales?
Unfortunately, it was one of the slower ones. We typically are a very conservative area, so we don't spend as much as the national average overall. But when you have situations like US Air and losing a lot of the downtown retailers, and so the whole just picture of the downtown as well as suburban areas in Pittsburgh was really a shaky season. So it was not merry for any of the retailers around here.
Audrey, when you look locally, were there some really big losers in the retail market?
Well, just like nationally, Walmart did not do well, department stores did not do well, a lot of discounters did not do well. The luxury stores did okay. So some of the more upscale stores held their own, and their sales were fair.
Even here in Pittsburgh?
Even here in Pittsburgh, yeah.
And what does that say to you? The rich are getting richer?
Well, it just seems like the people who were spending the money really spent it, and they spend it on a lot of luxury items. Also, online shopping was strong here as well as nationally. Sales increased about 26%. So there were some merry areas, but very few in this area.
When you and I were last together here, we talked about the Kmart-Sears merger.
Yes.
Any impact of that in Christmas sales from what you could see?
Well, I think what happened is because Sears and Kmart had merged and the word got out, and it was sort of like breath of fresh air for the retail picture. And so I think overall people shopped more in those stores hoping for something new and exciting, and they found that. So they pretty much held their own, and they did better than Walmart, which is very interesting.
We only have a couple minutes left, but let's look ahead now for this coming year, 2005. What do you see in the retail marketplace in this area that gives you any hope at all?
Well, hopefully 2005 will be a strong year. I don't see it's going to be terribly strong, but I think at least sales are going to pick up somewhat. The economy has been so shaky over the past couple of years, and I think consumers, because they were conservative in their spending, and also one of the things we need to keep in mind, they did a lot of shopping with debit cards as compared to credit cards. So overall, the credit and the picture in January and February isn't as bleak as it has been in past years. So hopefully a lot of Pittsburgh shoppers will be spending more money in the slower months, January, February, March, and I think that will give us a little bit of a boost. But still, 2005 isn't going to be as strong as we're all hoping it could be.
What are you going to look for in order to get some measure of this? Do you look at January buys, February buys? What do you look at?
Well, typically January and February are on a good monitor to look at, because typically it's very, very slow. You usually look at the back-to-school shopping season and the Christmas season as predictions for the next year. And when you take both of those from 2004 into account, very, very weak. And so you can just progress that into 2005, and chances are it's going to still be a slow first quarter and probably second quarter.
So will we have any measurement until when? Spring, when people buy summer clothes or things like that?
Probably, yeah, because winter merchandise went pretty well, and so that was a good indicator that people were spending something. But chances are we're probably going to have to wait till early spring until the summer merchandise comes out and we can predict things.
And no real big boom in the high-tech area, those digital cameras, all that kind of stuff?
Well, digital cameras did very well, and electronics did very well, so that was one of the winners. And clothing, apparel were the strong points. But other than that, it was very, very tough holiday season.
Bottom line, you're optimistic or just cautiously optimistic for the year ahead?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping that things all turn around, and hopefully the job picture will look better in Pittsburgh and people will start spending money. They've been so conservative that the bubble has to burst, and I think eventually if people start feeling a little bit more secure in themselves and the economy, people will start spending, and it'll be like a roller coaster, and we'll do very well.
Well, let's hope that happens in the coming year. Audrey Gusky, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, John. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year again. When we return, a look at